In our news bulletin for this evening, the Niue High Courts deliver outcomes for 2 civil court cases presented. The container to Tuvalu is closed and ready for shipment, and relief response has been deemed as a success by government. The ASB Polyfest Niue stage provides opportunities for young Niueans to learn a bit of their culture and language through performing arts. The Niue Primary Sports Day has now been deferred until the end of April. Air New Zealand flights to Niue have a few slight changes. As the Niue High Court was in session last week, 2 major civil cases were brought before the courts for consideration. The case between Vilikai versus Harding, Vakanofisi and Kose was in relation to an incident last year when Mr. Vilikai staged a protest during Prime Minister John Key's visit. He was subsequently remanded in police custody temporarily until the Prime Minister's flight had departed. At the time, Mr. Vilikai argued that this was a breach of his right to freedom of speech and protest. However, the case was brought before the High Court last week and was dismissed on the grounds that a confidential settlement had been made amongst the parties out of court. Details about what the settlement entailed were not disclosed to the court. In another civil matter, the case of Puemama Vakanofisi and the Niue Public Service Commission was an application for a judicial review requested by Mr. Vakanofisi's legal counsel regarding the terms of his employment transfer and the process taken that affected his position as a public servant. Judge Savage made a decision to order the Niue Public Service Commission to return and start the review of the process and their decision. However, the judge did not make any orders regarding the reinstatement of this employee to his former position. That decision will remain with government's employment body, the Niue Public Service Commission. The outcome of these cases have been relayed to all parties concerned. The response to the call-out for relief supplies for Tuvalu has been overwhelming, and the Ministry of Social Services have been kept busy for the past few days. Last week, government made an announcement that they would coordinate support relief for Tuvalu to fill up a shipping container. Initially, the collection point at the wharf was meant to finish on Saturday, but the response has been so tremendous that they extended collection until late yesterday afternoon. Despite the short amount of time given to gather things together, the response has been very positive, with very minor issues regarding the state of some goods. Via Member of Parliament and Member Assisting Minister Talaisi Tamatalaisi was at the wharf yesterday to inspect and close the container now bound for Tuvalu, with hopes that the goods will help families in Tuvalu recover from the devastation of Cyclone Pam. Minister Talaisi says that they are grateful for the generosity shown with the abundance of goods gifted and the arrangements made with Matson Shipping and their agent to send the container without payment for freight charges. Ministry staff say that there has been a lot of clothing and kitchenware that was donated. Right up until this morning, the container was filled and locked. The container has now been sent directly to the government of Tuvalu and should arrive in Tuvalu by early May. Secondary school students from all over Auckland were able to showcase cultural pride a few weeks ago as they competed in the annual ASB Secondary School Polynesian Festival. 40 years on, the festival has grown since its humble beginnings in 1976 when the festival was hosted by Hillary College. This year's theme was Enlightenment Through Education. Placings and prizes were divided into 2 categories on the Niue stage, small groups and large groups. For the small groups, Henderson High School took out the best for Tāme, traditional hymn or dance. Mangere College took out the best modern dance and hymn, as well as the meke. James Cook High School took out the best category for their beginning, and Waitakere College took out the best in traditional church hymns. For the large groups, Tangaroa College took out best beginning, Tāme, traditional hymn, and ending. Alfriston College took out the best modern church hymn and the meke. Edgewater College took out the best traditional hymn and dance and takalo. Manurewa High School won traditional church hymn, while the traditional dance went to Otahu College. The overall winners of the day on the Niue stage went to the group from Tangaroa College. Taonga Niue representatives commented that these types of activities give young Niueans an opportunity to reconnect to their cultural heritage, just like the Niue Arts and Cultural Festival that is about to be hosted on the island in a week's time. The Early Childhood Education and Niue Primary School have decided to defer their annual Sports Day program until Term 2. The much-awaited event was meant to be held tomorrow on the 1st of April. According to an announcement issued, the postponement was due to unforeseen circumstances, with the airline offloading freight on last weekend's flight that included the sports uniforms and equipment that was to be used for the Sports Day. School will finish on the 17th of April, with children on a one-week break before heading back for Term 2 that starts on the 27th of April. The Niue Primary Sports Day has now been rescheduled to be held on Wednesday, the 29th of April. There will be a few slight changes to Air New Zealand's flight services to Niue this coming April. The much-anticipated second flight services will resume on the first week of April to accommodate the tourist season, and it just so happens that Niue's biennial Arts and Cultural Festival commences that week. The changes will start this week, with the usual Saturday flights change back to Fridays and Tuesdays flights resume next week. This will also coincide with the arrival of some groups attending the 4th Niue Arts and Cultural Festival, and the Tuesday flights will end on the 10th of November 2015. Before we end this news bulletin, we'd like to extend our sincerest condolences to the families of Biubilitaki, Tom Riki Tawetule and Futukiulu Kumitau for your loss.